We're going to be talking about the pros and cons of autoflowers. And before we do, this video is brought to you by Real Growers Grow Dots, the easiest way to feed your plants. You apply them once at the beginning of your grow. They feed all the way to harvest. So go check them out over at growdots.com. All right, let's get into it. Autoflowers. There is a lot of controversy on these. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, autoflowers came out. Autoflower is simply a ruderalis plant, which there's three different kinds of cannabis. There's cannabis indica, cannabis sativa, and cannabis ruderalis. Indica and sativa, we know, they're really potent, work really well. Ruderalis was considered ditchweed. You would find that some of my friends would tell me a long time ago, oh, there's weed growing in the ditch in, up in the Pacific Northwest, up in Nebraska. It doesn't get you high, though. And what they did was they took this ditchweed and started crossing it with indicas and sativas. And in the beginning, they really weren't all that spectacular. There was something called lowrider that was what everybody was working with. Not so spectacular, but as the years have gone on, there's been companies like Mephisto, Night Owl Genetics, Daz over there, and these folks have been putting a ton of work into making autoflowers dank. And my buddy Cortez the Conqueror sends me pictures all the time of his autoflowers he grows for Night Owl. Unbelievable. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between these and a photo.
Okay, you jumped too far ahead for me real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm excited. Hi, C. What's up, brother?
What's up? That ruderalis plant?
Sure.
What was special about it that made people want to start mixing it in the first place?
It's not photo period dependent. Ruderalis would just grow in a ditch any time of the year because it didn't matter about light. Mostly, all the indicas and sativas, you have to have 2 grow rooms. You have to have, or at least 2 cycles. You have to have a vegetative grow where it's going to grow big and just grow its plant material, and then you're going to have flowering. And we all know that flowering is when you click it back to 12-12. You have to be really firm and rigid with that light schedule. That's when you're going to get flowers. You do that for 60, 70 days. You can't mess up there. You can't go, if you go and open the door, you leave the lights on, you really mess it up. So these autoflowers are easy. You literally, or theoretically, they're easy. You just plant them and then they grow and they determine when they flower up.
And you were telling me that they can be grown in the same environment. So you can have plants in veg and plants in bloom under the same lights rather than having to have your whole setup split for each one.
Yeah, well, you can just have a veg. Think about, we're looking at grow tents. You can have 2 grow tents or 1. Be a lot easier just to have 1 grow tent. You can just keep planting a seed every couple weeks or every month or so, and you have a perpetual harvest. Normally, to do that with photo period plants, you have a veg and a flower, and it's a lot more difficult. So there's huge advantages for autos. A couple disadvantages, though.
Okay, so what are those specifically when it comes to the lights? One of the main drawbacks that you were telling me about when it comes to autoflowers.
The main disadvantage is you have no control over when they flip. They decide. That's what they automatically decide when they're going to flower. So if you haven't treated them right, maybe you didn't give them enough light in the beginning, maybe they are really leggy or could use a little bit more veg time, maybe you didn't feed them so good in the beginning and they need to catch up. You don't have that opportunity. The autoflowers are going to flower whether in perfect health or not, whether they're fed and beefy or not. When I grow my photo period plants, if I messed up a little bit, I can just let them veg for another few days or another week and pour some more calcium or magnesium on there, whatever they need. Mm-hmm. These you're kind of stuck. So as long as you've got your system dialed in or your grow dialed in, you should be all right until you make a mistake, and then you're going to curse a little bit,
What was the other thing you were telling me about cloning with autoflowers?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely hooked on seeds at that point because you can't clone an autoflower. If you clone an autoflower, it's going to flower up at the exact same time as the mother does. Mm-hmm. So you're really stuck buying seeds. Every single plant you're buying seeds. The cool thing about clones is once you cut a clone, you've got basically a factory for that forever. And that also means that you can get good at growing that plant. With autoflowers, if you find, oh man, this needs a little bit more magnesium than I'm used to, or this is a very light feeder. I'm used to feeding everything, this way, and autoflowers take only about half of that. Stuff like that, if you make a mistake, you can't really recover from it.
Yeah, and kind of like the Monsanto Terminator
The
gene.
Terminator
you
gene.
gotta buy seeds every single harvest, every single time you plant.
Yeah, I do think that's a big deal of why they got a bad rap, because you are stuck. You know, you're chained to the seed bank at that point. You know.
Yeah, and you mentioned Cortez DGC.
Yeah,
he's rocking it with autoflowers right now.
Beautiful. I'll also mention Night Owl Daz over at Night Owl Genetics, man, because I'm seeing what Cortez is growing. Both friends of the show, full disclaimer, but man, I'm seeing what Cortez is growing. It is absolutely spectacular. You would love to pick that up, man. You wouldn't be saying, is this an auto? Purple, beautiful, giant fat colas, beautiful stuff. So autos have arrived. Scotty's here to tell you, autos have arrived, and you should give them a whirl. They're definitely worth throwing in your veg. Take something, put it in a 3-gallon container, put it in a real bucket, let it sit for 3 months, and watch what happens. I will give a full disclaimer. I have never grown autos myself. I do have some extra room in veg this time, so I think I'm going to grow this Harvey Wallbanger from Night Owl Genetics. Pretty cool. These are 3 packs of feminized seeds. And yeah, I'm going to see what happens. But what about y'all? Have y'all grown autos? Have you been impressed by them? Have you been disappointed by them? Let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending for you.